Hey y'all, welcome back. It's what is this? Hanging with Hobo, and I just I just broke. It's Hanging with Hobo live, and welcome back to the studio. We were just here, so yes, we were. So had a pretty good day today. A little light turnout for chips and chat, which I expected it to be, given the time of day, and I'm still learning. I don't know what I'm doing, but I had a productive day today. I learned some stuff. Thank you, Jack, for coming and contributing to the stream and meeting later. I did. I learned some stuff. I'm still in the weeds. Uh, I'm in the weeds big time. And so, if you no wasted away in Margaritaville. I did have a small, or it was a medium margarita, small for me. But if you want to see, I mean, tonight is going to be a fun night. We're going to do some designing of some Christmas trees, and I've got another project, and I can't believe that I just broke it. I can believe it because that's just the way my day's been. Anyway, we're going to do some designing tonight. I'm going to show you how you can take just a single image, just a flat SVG, and we're turn it into more than just an engraving. We're going to turn it into some stands and some trees, and there's going to be some simple techniques, and I'm going to try and build. I'm going to try and take you on a journey. A progression. There we go. We're going to go on a progression from simple to a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then quite elaborate. Well, not really elaborate because we're going to do all this in the live stream, so it's not going to be super intense. So thank you everybody for being here. With the cow, if you got to see the video I did put up this week on Hobo with Wood Lasers, this photo prop that I created for Jesse, we did that I think Monday. Had a 7.5 hour or 7 hour live stream, nonstop, no interruptions, just 7 hours creating this, with the patrons chipping in and creating, doing a little collaboration to make it into what it is. That was a good time. A lot of people learned a lot. A lot of patrons learned a lot, and that's why I do that. And tonight we're going to do some really basic designs. I'm going to do Charlie Brown's Christmas tree, and then a different take on a couple of different trees. So first, I want to tell you where you can get your Christmas trees. I don't think you can get Charlie Brown. Well, I think you can get it here, but not for free. First, we're going to look at my favorite SVG website, svgheart.com. If you aren't a paid member there, you should be. It's cheap. It's really cheap, and the selection is phenomenal. But we're going to look in their free files tonight and grab a free Christmas tree that any one of you guys can grab, and you can do this not as we follow along, or you can watch the replay and redo it. So svgheart.com. I am not logged in. It says right here, sign in. I'm not signed in. This is svgheart.com. And if you go to their free SVG files and you want to browse by category, and you come down here and you want to go to holidays and celebrations. And this is free SVGs, free 2,924 free SVGs that you can download that are all holiday and what they call it, holiday and celebration related. Now, to find the tree we're going to use tonight, I want to I'm going to go make me a drink, and you guys go ahead and start searching through these 2,924 SVGs and find the one that we want to use that kind of looks like that. So y'all get started. No, seriously. Yes, John, and I saw you asked about the eye earlier today, and I forgot to reply. The eye is much better. I've got a little bit of a kind of a scabbed area there, but it'll heal up and fall away. But yes, eye is much better. Thank you. So svgheart.com, holidays and celebrations in the free files, and I think it's on page 15. So we're going to just advance to 15. To Papa. Page 15. Yeah, page 15 in the free files. This one right here. This is free, and it's listed as a monogram tree. So it's already got a little circle in there so you can put the monogram or whatever in it. But this one is going to work good for what we want to do because it's a wide tree. And so you click on it and you say add a card. This is a free one. And you download that. Add a card. And where is my cart? And since I'm once you sign up as a member and you're a paid member, like I am, you don't have to go through all of this because you already signed up and done it. It's been so long since I've done this as a not signed in, I forgot the process. And I'm not going to do all this now because I've already got it all downloaded in my art library. But I just showed you yours at holidays and celebrations, page 15. It's got the monogram in it. And once you get it downloaded and opened up and imported into Lightburn as the SVG, Lightburn, I have, let me find my Christmas trees. There we go. Where are you? There we go. Let's see. And I know you can't see my page. I'm just trying to get the page set up correctly. Come to Papa. All right. Now, switch. All right, so I've already removed the monogram. All you do is select that circle and delete it, and it's gone. And if we click back over, you can see that's that's basically the same tree. That one's got a little less limbs on it, but same thing. It's got the potted base on it. And if I want to take this and I want to turn it into a stand, I want it to be, you can do it a couple different ways. You can do something like this, where you got them slid together and interlocking. Or if you want to make it one-dimensional, kind of like what I did here with Charlie Brown's tree, is only front and back, but I put a four-sided base on it so it's can self-support. A couple different ways you can approach this. If you want to do it so that it's just a single or front and back, but you need to be able to support itself, you could put a tab on the bottom of this and just put it on a base. But personally, I like it better if we do something like this, where I grab just any old square rectangle and put it around the bottom. And I actually need to keep it right at the top of that pot. Come on, there we go. Like that. And I'm going to duplicate this whole thing, slide it over here so I've got it in my original, and then say the tree, then select the rectangle or the square and use my tools to cut shapes, and then delete the tree. Oh, star separate, get away, bye-bye. So now I've just got the pot. Now I can get rid of this over here. And if I want to have this to where it slides up and locks on the bottom of that, then if I look at the overall size of the height of this is 18.904 millimeters, 18.904. And it shows, and here we go again, Chris, with this. It shows to be grouped. There is nothing there. I've got no other layers. And if I ungroup this, if I try to select that, there's nothing there, nothing there. There's only one object. Something's, and that's just, I think that's just another thing funky going on in 2.0. Showing grouped items when there are no groups. So anyway, that's just a single piece, and it's 18.904 millimeters tall. So now for assembly and design purposes, I'm going to put a rectangle here that's going to be 3 millimeters wide, because that's the average thickness of my Baltic birch. And then I'm going to say a height of 18.904. So now that, if I center it up in my bucket like that, that's the exact height of the bucket, and it's exactly centered. So now I can take that and park this right on top of the other bucket. Let's grab our corners and dock it there and there. All right. Now I'm going to take that rectangle I just created and I'm going to duplicate it. Now it's positioned in the exact same place. So now I can select the one bucket I cut apart and hold shift to select one of those rectangles, bring that over here. Now everything's lined. Everything's exactly where it should be. Now to make this interlocking, all I need to do is think about what I want to slide over what. I want this entire tree to slide down over the top of this. So I'm going to select this rectangle. I'm going to put my anchor at the top, which it is. And then I'm going to come to this height, and I'm going to divide it by 2. Okay. Oh, I scrolled. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. Then I'm going to come to this one and change my anchor point to the bottom and divide by 2 on the height. Now, if these were going to be cut out, if they were on the cut path, which, most of us use red for our cut paths, say A, subtract B. There's a groove, and this is on the cut path. Actually, both of those are on a cut path. Not that. There we go. And then A, subtract B. Now those are going to line up and stack together, but it's a little bitty narrow thing. That is going to be extremely top heavy, but that gives you just an interlocking base to have those sit on. And then if you wanted to take that to give it some stability, what size are you going to make this thing overall? And Chris commented, yeah, it seems to happen after duplicating something. Was the original group when it was duplicated? I don't know. I have to look at that. All right. So this is going to be a little top heavy, but if that's the look that I want to have at the bottom, giving me kind of a full look there, and then I want it to appear like, that's your setting. Let's size this thing. If this is going to be a little desktop tree, I'm going to draw out a 300 by 300 toolpath, put it in a corner, put it on a toolpath. Let's bring this over here. And right now, the width of this is 125 mil. So 150 would be half of that. But with that taper, what I'm looking at is how big, how wide can I make this and get a tree? Because I'm going to do more with this design. I'm doing real basic right now. But if I wanted to get a full intersecting tree out of one piece of material, I can take that tree and rotate it so that they're sitting side by side and kind of nested in this material and still get a pretty decent sized tree. So in fact, I can just do this. The base, I'm only going to need one of those, and I'm going to put it in here kind of tight. I'm going to take and grab the star and the tree, duplicate it and rotate it, and dock them kind of like that. And actually, you know what? I might be able to get more. I'll just play with it a little bit. So I dock that side by side, grab both of those, and let's group that. Put it in the center of that toolpath and start stretching and drawing it out. And with them positioned there, that's about as big as they can get. But let's ungroup it. Oh, missed my star. And I don't have my star. Oops, I don't have my star welded on there yet on purpose. You'll see in a minute. Oh, get the other star. Oh, then we get the tool path. And that's how I kind of start scaling it up and try and get the most out of all of that. Missed the second base when you duped. I didn't want to duplicate this one if I had to think about that. Come to Papa, go off. If you're talking about this, I didn't need that duplicated. And you'll see why in a second. Because right now, I don't even need this. I was just seeing what my size could be, how big I could get out of a 300 by 300 piece of material and get two of them. Right now, I'm just going to do, I want to set this out the side. I wanted to work on designing this one tree. And actually, now that I think about it, I was getting ahead of myself. Because right now, that little potted, tree is going to be top heavy. So that's still the look that I want to have. I didn't want just a tree to be coming up out of a base. I like having that pot there. So actually, what I just did was a waste of time because I need to make a base and I need to have that base on this piece of material too. So I'm going to do an elliptical base, like kind of like a what they call those, tree skirts. So I'm not going to do a circular skirt. I'll do an elliptical skirt. And I want the skirt to be about as tall here as the tree is wide. And the tree is 187. And so I can make this a little bigger. That'll work. And I'm going, and actually this is going to work out well because I'm going to be able to, I'm going to do a layer on this. So there's that. That's going to be the bottom. I'm going to come in with an offset on that. I'm going to come in inward, and I'm going to come in probably 6 mil. Yeah, 6 mil. Don't delete the original. Say okay. And this is going to be the top part of that. I'm not going to be able to nest everything up like I wanted to, but I'm going to put this on this base. These are going to interlock with each other, but now I need to put this base on, or this potted tree on this base. So I'm going to come back to my rectangles, come over here and draw out a 3 by 20 maybe, or yeah, unlock that, do 3 millimeters by 20 millimeters. Put that in the center of that. I need to duplicate that and no, I don't. I don't. I'm going to delete that. Take that back. Just that one. That's 3 by 20. Yeah, I do need it. Duplicate and rotate it and bring that down here to keep me from drawing it again. And I do need that up here. Now I look at my base. Getting ahead of my trying to do a whole bunch tonight, and I'm trying not to be too discombobulated. Duplicate that, rotate that so those intersect there. Then I need this on that one, Control D, duplicate that, and this one over here. Now, if I put this in the center and then use my alignment, move that up vertically. I got to select it first. Hold shifts like that, move it up vertically to align it. That puts that lined up. Align that to that in the center. And then Alt Shift V to move it up vertically. And I can weld those two together. Done. But now this one, I need to get that out of there. So I can come over here and grab that and come actually to right there. I'm holding shift and it's going to draw a perfect square. But now that that's there, I can just move it down or align it to the top of that and then subtract it. A, subtract B, and now weld all that together. Now that's going to slide down over that. That's a full intersection. That's cut open. Those are going to fit into here. And then this will glue on top of this one. And you would have a one-dimensional tree that you can decorate. And we're going to do some more. Now the slot has changed. So so now they won't match. I think I addressed that. You were just didn't give me time, I think. Steve will have to go back and use the slots and tab tool to resize the slots in the base. When they go together, the wood is different size. Did I not use 3 millimeter everywhere? What's the 4? But right now, it's all irrelevant. Right now, we're just setting up the design because whoever mentioned it, you're going to resize your slots and tabs anyway if you want a good tight fit. I've got my wood sitting beside my laser, and before I do anything with slots and tabs on it, I mic everything and adjust that design for the material that I'm using. I use 3 typically when I'm doing designs simply as a starting point. If I use something different there, it wouldn't really make much difference. When you duped base, you didn't leave a glue. When you duped the base, you didn't leave a glue line. Yeah. Pot's got water. Oh. Pot's the same. You're talking about the slots. When I resized it, the slots changed. Okay, yeah. Doesn't matter because you're going to resize everything anyway. Andy says, I wasn't paying close enough attention. Squirrel, can you show the cut shapes tool again? At what point? Where I cut the pot off the tree? So, and also it's important up here where I did these and then rotated them. Okay, Andy, I'll show you. I took these, duplicated it, and then rotated it. Some folks will want to take this and then weld it together, and you've got a nice cross in there. That's a no-no. Don't do that. Because if you do that, Lightburn doesn't recognize it as a slot any longer, and you cannot resize your slots in the design like we're going to need to. So if you leave that like that, you can still resize your slots and selection. And if you like, and I wasn't paying attention, I think I understand what y'all said now. When I started stretching this out, it's changed the size of these slots. Not a big deal. Whatever this is, if I measure this and come in here and look, yeah, it says it's 4.5, and these up here are 3. Well, watch what I can do. If all of this is selected, and you go to your tools and resize slots and selection, we're going to change our slot width. I'm going to put in here 3 millimeters is our original thickness, and it picks up on these, but it doesn't pick up on these. I want the new material thickness to be 2.8 millimeters because that's the thickness of my plywood I'm picking up. I'm still only seeing these up top. I need to get these and resize them at the same time. All you got to do is increase your tolerance here. One's not enough. I'll just keep increasing that tolerance. There we go. I'm at 1.6, and now I see all of these and all of these, resizing it from the 3 millimeters, give or take 1.6 millimeters to 2.8 millimeters for the new size, and say apply, and that resize those, apply, and okay. So now everything's resized to the material that you actually have on the laser, not what your design is. So you want to keep those intersecting pieces unwelded so you can do the resize tool. And it doesn't really matter if everything's uniform, because you can make it all uniform with the resize tool. Make sure you increase your tolerance enough that you can get at everything. So now, so Andy says he wanted to see how to do that cut shapes one more time real quick. Go back over here. And if I just bring in another tree, and I want that pot off that tree, if I come in here, and I'm actually going to come to this angle to where I know I'm on a corner, I'm going to start drawing out a square that encompasses the whole thing. And I'm coming out wide because that way I know I'm going to be able to just slide it over. So now I can just move it over like that. We'll bring it there. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm just going to put it all on the same layer. And I'm going to select the tree first. Hold shift and select that square, and tools, cut shapes. Tools or alt shift C for cut shapes. And when you do, depending on which one you select first, your result will be highlighted. I selected the tree first, and then the cut shapes, cut that out. I think if you selected the pot first and then the tree and then cut, it may be inverted. But by selecting that tree first and then the cut shapes, the tree is what's highlighted. I want to get rid of that tree. All I got to do now is just hit, because it's already selected, just hit the delete button. And I've got my pot. So I go back, and let's look at that. I selected tree first, hold shift, select the cut tool, tools, cut shapes. That's what's selected. Go back, select well, actually, you know what? The pot is all this, is the tree. It's all the same. If I select the cut shape first and then select the tree and then do tools, you can't do cut shapes because you're using that shape as your cookie cutter. So you select that SVG, that design, then your little box, and it doesn't have to be a box, You can do circles too. Let's see here. Let's delete that. Grab, and we'll grab a circle. Come right here and just drag that out for whatever reason. If I wanted to get that kind of that trunk in there too, well, it doesn't matter if I select the pot or the tree. All of that is one object. Then hold shift and select the circle and tools, cut shapes. That's what's selected. Hit the delete, go away. And now I've got the tree and the tree trunk and the pot. But if I wanted to be sure and have that when I'm done, duplicate all of that, slide that over. Now select that, select your cut shape tool and tools, cut shapes, delete what you don't want. And now you've got, and we don't need that tool over here anymore. Go away. So now you've got that mirrored image that you could do what I did there, where you just, center up your intersection points and you have the exact mirror. So whenever you interlock them, it's just a continuation of each other all the way around. So that's cut shapes. And you're most welcome, Andy. All right. So if I've, what's he saying here? I think I just saw the tree was grouped when you wrote. Yeah, the tree's grouped with the star up top. The tree is originally grouped with the star up top because I've left it ungrouped right here because I found when you have trees and stars on the tops of your trees, if you're not careful, if that star is sitting too far up on the tip of the tree, it becomes very, very fragile. That's where it's going to get broke the first time 2 or 3 people pick it up and handle it and look at it. Oh, that's so pretty. And then snap off star. Put it in the pocket. Ain't nobody looking, So what I do when the star is not attached, so I'll grab that star. We'll go ahead and put it on the same layer. I'll grab that star and start bringing it down. I still want to have some separation on these points. I don't want to bring it all the way down to where it's like that. I want to have my stars still have some points there, but I don't want that all the way up here. I come down here and give it a little bit more meat and then weld those together. And let me show you another trick. So now that's welded up and that will work. And if that's too far down, you can Control Z, go back and bring it up a little bit and weld them together. But if you happen to bring, wrong button. If you happen to bring in a tree that's the star and the tree are already welded together like that, and you see it's a little bit too fragile, well, just go into your node editing tools and get rid of everything that is the star, delete it, take your tree, put middle point, letter M, put an S to make it smooth, and then just start bringing that straight up. All right, then you've got a tree without a star. And if you've been doing like I've been telling you to, you can go to your art library, go to your accents or wherever you've put it, and you'll have a star somewhere. I'm on. There it is, 34. And bring your star in and put your star wherever you want it to be. Put it in the center of the tree. And then weld it all together. Put it back on the cut path. Done. Or you can select the star. Oh. I have yet once done that. I have not used that new tool yet, but that is part of 2.0 over here in your selectors, your shape selectors, rectangle, ellipse, triangle, pentagon, polygon, octagon, star, or dual star. But yeah, I have yet to use that. I I have drawn my stars for so long and put them in my art library that's not even been on my radar. I got to go. I got to go back. Jack says that was in 1708, or it's not in 1708. I don't like doing things the hard way. It's just that was the easy way until they put that in the shape tools. Before you had to draw it out yourself every time you needed to do one, unless you put it in your art library. But now you don't need it in your art library because they put it in shape tools. Yeah, I know you're on that one. I can't remember, Jack. Does 1.7? It doesn't have the star, does it? It doesn't have all those in there. I think that was in 2.0. That was a new. I think. I can't be for sure. You can tell me though. All right, so back over here. All right. So now that would interlock with that. Those two would sit in there and glue up on there, and you got one little base, and it's a nice little Christmas tree. And if you wanted to put some Christmas balls in it, you can go over to Amazon or Hobby Lobby and pick up little 15 millimeter Christmas balls. Come in here. We're going to draw out a perfect circle. Got to select our circle. We'll draw out a perfect circle. First, I'm going to do the 15 millimeter. There we go. So that's the actual size of the Christmas ball. But I need to, I don't want to make it that tight. I want to put about, we'll say 3 millimeter. We'll make it 18. So now I've got a 3 millimeter offset in there and put those on. And now I can just duplicate that and bring it down here. Duplicate. Oop, wrong button. Duplicate. There we go. Bring that one over here. Duplicate it again. Control D. There and there. And why not one more, I think. Maybe here. And we'll move that one. And then, and I should have went ahead and done it when I did all that. I put, because a lot of these have used string, I'll put a little 1 millimeter hole up above that I can run my thread through there and tie that up. And I should have done that and duplicated it all the way down through there. So I group those and duplicate it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get rid of these guys and just grab one. There we go. Grab one. And just place them out wherever you want them to be. And these are somewhat popular designs. If you Google, desktop Christmas trees and these little baubles, they're everywhere. And I'm going to show you. Well, I did the same thing with the base on this one, but I'm going to show you something you got to be watching out for, because this one, I did it to where it's on a base by itself. Here, it's interlocking and there is no base, but there's some roadblocks and snafus you got to watch out for when you do this, and I'm going to show you that. Stay. Should have duplicated the star before welding it so that you could cut out 2 more and put them on either side of the tree. The tree's going to have, it's going to be on the star is there on both sides. Don't quite follow you there, Craig. if you're doing a 3D two-piece tree, oh yeah, well, I ain't got there. See, Gris, you're getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me. This was the one-dimensional tree, and see, you just spoiler alert. When you're designing, think about what your plans are to do with this tree. Your sole intent to only make this tree that sits there on that base and it's front and back and that's it? If that's your sole intent, so be it. You can do that and put them anywhere you want. You're done. But if you want to design one that has a multi-use where it can be that or that interlocking, then you have to do what Chris was just pointing out. You have to do an alignment with the balls, make your star, everything. You need to make sure everything is going to be centered, and you need to leave space through the center where the tree slides up. If I was going to put balls on this one, I couldn't put a ball obviously in the middle where it's going to need to interlock together. And when you do place it, you need to make sure you leave enough space away from this 3 millimeter material thickness so that it's not laying on the other tree. And what I do there is I base that off of the thickness of my little miniature Christmas balls. These are 15 millimeters. So what I do is I'll select this right here and just set it over here out of the way. And I'm going to grab all of these and I'm going to delete them. Now, if I'm going to make this a fully interlocking piece, let's see. I thought you were doing a two-sided tray or sided. I didn't know you were making a four-sided tree. Oh yeah. But you can have a ball in the middle. Yes, you. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. If everything is lined up perfectly, then you can have a Christmas ball right in the very center of where they interlock. And if you actually could do, and in fact, it might be kind of cool. It'd be a little bit tough on the assembly. Jack, I want to see how you put that together once you get it done. Yeah, I want to see once you get that put together. All right. If we're going to do this where it's a two interlocking four-sided tree, not just two-sided, then I don't need this little guy anymore. But I'm going to set it over here. And I don't need this slot in the middle. I go to my node editing tool and get rid of those right there. Oh, not the delete button. How many years have I been doing this? How many times have you seen me hit the delete button when I do node editing? I do it all the time, and I know better. You don't hit the delete button when you're in node editing. The letter D to delete. So fortunately, we can just do Control Z to bring it back, and then select the ones you want and the letter D to get rid of. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these two because I don't know if I want that there or not. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. But right now, I'm going to just start fresh. So I'm going to go back over here. And then I need to do the same thing I did with the pot, but for the entire tree. And I'm going to, the overall height is 210, 412. So if I come here, grab a rectangle, and it needs to be 210, 412. 210, 412, and then right now we're going to use 3 as a baseline. Now I have my aspect ratio locked. Undo, unlock aspect ratio, and 3 millimeters. So now that goes in the center of this, and actually, there we go, like that. Now, there is one thing that you might be cautious about. If you didn't draw the SVG, and here we didn't, we got it from svgheart.com. And there's depending on what your design is when you do this, it's not going to be that big of a deal with this particular tree or this particular design, but some designs are more crucial than other when you go to do the interlocking, where symmetry is an absolute must. It needs to be identical, left and right side of the image. And here we don't know if it is or not. And the way you do that when you do need it to be symmetrical is before you bring this hot rod into place, let's bring it back over here, come over here, and we're just going to draw a straight line all the way down through that. And then we'll put that in the center of the tree. Center, there we go. And then I'll use my scissor tools and just say cut, cut, and cut. Get rid of that. Now I have 1/2 of that tree. Control D, duplicate it, mirror it to flip it, move it over to the other side, hold shift, grab the other one and alt shift H to align them and weld it together. It didn't want to weld up. So control Z, and it should have welded together because everything should be docked right up on each other. And if I come in here to my scissor tools, I should be able to just grab, nope, it's going to want to cut the whole thing. So there's always more than one way to do things, right? Always another way. When I get this, and I've just aligned them, and I just cut that in a straight line, and I've pushed them right up against each other and hit the weld button. It ain't welding them together. It's grouping them instead of welding them. I did this to create some symmetry. So if I start pushing one over on top of the other to get it to weld up, well, now I've just lost my symmetry. So to minimize that, you want to move this as just the slightest amount possible. So go into your gears and settings, and you go into your units and grids, and you set your control arrow move to 0.01 and say OK. Now, 0.01 is 1/100th of a millimeter. And if I select this and I hit control and the left arrow, it's going to move it to the left 1/100th of a millimeter. But that's not the smallest increment. If I hold control, shift, and left arrow, it's going to move it 1/1000th of a millimeter. Because control, shift will move it 1/10th of the movement setting. So if the movement setting is 1/100th, holding control shift is going to divide that by 10. And so you're not even going to see it move, but it will allow me to overlap and to weld things together. So if I grab, oh, I just did too much. Put that back. That's selected. I hold control, shift, and arrow to the left. Then now when I weld those up, it should go done. And because the whole purpose of me even doing that was to try and get them symmetrical. So why ruin that symmetry by moving it even 1/2 millimeter too much? So 1/100th of a millimeter, done. Now that I've got that perfectly symmetrical, bring this back into play, put it in the very center, bullseye it, then control D, duplicate all of that, bring that over here. Now that I've got them duplicated, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the flower pot a minute ago. I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to, with the anchor point at the bottom, come over here to my height and divide that by 2. Then I'm going to come back over here, select that one, move my anchor point to the top, and divide it by 2. And after duping, try docking rather than alt shift. I can try that, but I run into that a whole lot. No matter how I group them up, uh, I'll play with that if when and if it ever happens again. You know what? The heck with it. We're not that far down the path. Do, 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 do. All right. So I'm in my workspace, and Chris says, "Let's try docking it." So I've got my padding to 0. I've only selected the one, and I'm going to tell it to dock to the left. That pushes it up against there. And to me, that should be the exact same as aligning it. But let's see. If we select on both and weld it, there we go. So why aligning it one to another didn't work, but docking did. Da-da, da-da. Maybe Chris has an answer for us. Let's see. All right, so so we got those, and let's put the divider in the center of the tree, bullseye it, duplicate it, put the duplicate over here. Anchor point, okay, is at the top. That's fine. Select our divider or our middle bar, and we're going to divide the height by 2. And select this one and go to the bottom and divide by 2. And now A, subtract B. A, subtract B. And now those are going to interlock over one another. Now, what Chris gave away just a minute ago, when you're doing interlocking shapes like this, and if you're wanting to do the Christmas balls all throughout the entire tree, you need to be aware of your thinking about your interlocking and your spacing, and you've got room to put those balls in there whenever you interlock it. And these little miniature balls I've got here are 15 millimeters. So I will get me a toolpath. Oh, I changed that on toolpath. Let's put that back. Deselect that. There we go. And toolpath, rectangle. Doesn't really matter about the height. I just need to have it 15 millimeters. And then I'm going to put it in the center. There. Control D, duplicate it, put it in the center over here. There. And so now, if I want to put the Christmas balls on this one, I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to make sure that I stay outside of that toolpath. I'm not going to bring it in here. You could bring it right up to that line right there, because that is technically where your other piece is going to slide together. But I like to have a little spacing, and you know what? I can put it right there, so it's even hanging off the bough of that tree. That's fine. And just duplicate that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And we'll put one over here, and then one over here. And one more. And we'll put this one actually down here like that, where it's kind of hanging off the tree a little bit. There's room to put one more over there, or we can bring it in here a little bit. Move them around, do whatever you want to do. But here, like this, now this is a simple tree, because that's all you had to do. It's going to cut out the hole for the 15 millimeter ball. You've got a hole to tie it into. Now I'm going to tell you, in my description, I said these projects are really cool projects to have cut out, already ready to go, to be painted, put together, finished, putting the Christmas balls and stuff on. come Thanksgiving time or around Christmas, when you have a house full of kids, grandkids, and maybe it's bad weather, they can't go out, and now they're loud, right? All right, come on, we got a project. Everybody, we want to see who can do the desk. Or I've been working on these, and my eyes are so bad, and I got the shakes. I cannot get these threads, these little bitty threads, into the eyelet of these little bitty Christmas balls. I need y'all to come help me out. Can one or two of you start putting the threads in here and tying knots on them, getting all these set up? Give them a project. Give them something to do. And then once you get all the balls all tied up and all that, okay, now, and I'm putting a 1 millimeter. I put a 1 millimeter hole in these designs. Whether you're doing it or somebody else is doing it, 1 millimeter is doable. But if you got the shakes, you ain't gonna get it in there. You might do 1.5 millimeters or something. But something like this be something to keep, kids, preteens, even teens, preoccupied for quite a while. But this one is a simple one because that's just going to cut out a hole and you got a hole there. But what if you did a more elaborate tree? All right. This is going to cut out. This is going to sit down on top of there. And you can do the same thing I did with the base. Put the same pieces here, just like I did before, and put it on a large piece there. But I'm going to show you something that you might run into if you use a different tree. Yeah, I seen the other duplicate up there. I wasn't worried about it. If you want to see what this looks like, and where is it there? I broke that just seconds after going live. I stepped on it and broke it off. So it's pretty cool, something different. And I painted my free skirt red and left the outer perimeter natural, so it's kind of like red and white, like Christmassy. So that's that. Go away, Cal. And that's one with one missing. There we go. But now I want to show you, because this is where you can run into some problems. If you go on to svgheart.com, there's a whole bunch of Christmas trees. Some of them are pretty elaborate. Some of them are pretty nice. And if you're a paid member of svgheart.com, you can find some really, really nice ones. And they can look super, super sharp, but there's another trick to adding the Christmas balls to some of these. And I'm going to show you that. And then if you've still got time and you're interested, we'll go back and look at the obstacles on the Charlie Brown tree. Because there was not a problem, but something you have to watch for when you do this. So we'll get to that. But I want to show you this one other issue with a fancier tree. If I get rid of all this, say bye, and I come over to my Christmas trees, and I want to use this one. Yeah, this one. This is the one that I have behind me. Where you've got all the boughs of the tree cut out. Well, when you're going to use a tree like this, it's got all these cutouts. You have a whole nother problem when you go to want to cut out the holes for your Christmas balls. I'm going to put all this on the cut layer and make it bigger. That's pretty good. I can get that out of a 300 by 300 piece. That's 290 tall. But now, if I wanted to do this either on just front and back or interlocking, either one, you got another headache for your Christmas balls. I come in here and I draw out we'll draw a 15 millimeter ball. That's 24 millimeters. That's a quarter. We don't want a quarter. We want 15 millimeters. And 15 millimeters. There we go. Let's see here. If you can get them off their cell phone, yeah. Amen to that. Thank you, Miss Melissa. Yeah, these actually they can be a little tedious to put together. I would probably recommend not doing the string unless you're really going to be wanting to keep some kids busy and say, "Here, go do this." I've been last year making my own Christmas village. No, I didn't make my own files. I'm in the process of trees. So happy I'm seeing this live. Yay. So much info so fast. I lost count. Thank you. And take it from the top. Okay. All right. Hey, y'all. Thanks for joining me. I'm Steve Hobo with Wood, and this is Hanging with Hobo. And tonight we're going to be doing some Christmas trees. But last week, or the first of the week, before I ain't going all the way to the top, you silly booger. All right. So I've got this tree. I've got all this stuff going on. Now, first thing I got to look at is there's some issues with this tree that this would be okay for an engraving. But if I cut this out, this is a cut line. This is a cut line. Well, that's not good for anything as a cut line because that's going to fall out when this falls out. So I got to clean this tree up a little bit. So let's ungroup this. And let's get rid of anything that's internal. We'll get rid of that one. Is there any more? That's going to cut, and then that's going to fall out, and that's going to fall. That's all. Those two are the only ones that were an issue. All right. So now I've got this is going to be the size of the actual Christmas ball. Now, if I was going to do this one as an interlocking piece, I need to think about that now when I start looking at putting these positions in. So if I was to go ahead and do a toolpath, and I can probably get by with 12 millimeters by 295 and put that in the middle of that there. So now I don't want to put my Christmas balls, over that line. I want to keep them off there. Now, I can, and see a tree like this, that'll even look good if they, you can actually put one out here hanging out of the tree. Down, especially down here where the boughs are getting even bigger. But in here, all right, well, if I wanted to put it there, well, that's a hole. That's cut out. How am I going to hang it? Well, I can put it up there. But I'm going to show you what I do to make this a whole lot simpler. And you can put them anywhere you want to. And I actually like the way it looks. This is the actual size of the Christmas ball. First, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do an offset outward. And I don't need to do 6. We'll do 4 and say okay. Now, I'm going to take that and I'm going to, in fact, actually what I'll do, we're going to not do that. We're going to come up here and draw out. We'll do 1.5 millimeters for the hole for the tie. Put that on the cut path. Do 1.5 mil. I didn't have my aspect ratio locked. There we go. And then come up here, align it to the center of that. And I'm okay with that spacing, just eyeballing it. So now I'm going to select this one, and this one, temporarily group them. And now I'm going to use that to place where I want my pieces to be. So I'm like, okay, I can put that hole right there, and I'm going to put that one right there. And I'm going to duplicate that. And then I want to bring that down here. There's some meat right there. I can tie one right there and duplicate that and bring it over here. Duplicate it again. Bring that one there. And you'll find yourself, this tree's got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That one's got 20 Christmas balls on it. Once you tie 20 Christmas balls to one of these, you don't ever want to tie another one. So I encourage you to be sparing, unless what I would do, if you've got the tools and you've got good enough hands, you got good dexterity, is instead of tying them on there, and I just broke that one. I hit it with my foot and it broke off the string. Get some of the hoops for doing the earrings, the earring hardware, and put that on the Christmas ball, and then lock that in your tree. Your Christmas ball will break before you get that to, most likely. Somebody'd have to pull on that to get it to come out. So I would do the little metal hoops instead of that. And if you do that, the placement of your hole for where you're going to put it is crucial, because you got to look at the overall diameter of the ring that you're going to use, because that's a hard fixed ring. If it's only a 3mm ring, then you can't have a 4mm gap from the top of your Christmas ball to where your hole is going to be. It won't line up. So think about that. Something else to think about. But right now we're doing all string. And I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. And I'm just going to grab all of those and say Control D, duplicate it, and flip it. And then just bring it over here and see where they line up. Oh, dadgummit. Control Z, there we go. Grab those, there we go. And I don't know if I want them exactly mirrored, but we're going to do that anyway. We're going to mirror them up. We're going to put them kind of in the same place. That one didn't quite make it. And you got, but here I want to show you the roadblock I want to show you and talk to you about is all of these extra places in here. All right. And the reason I did the extra offsets for the rings. Now I'm going to ungroup all this. And I'm going to grab all of the outer perimeters, the outer offsets of all those. Group those. And you can do this 100 different ways. I'm going to put them on any old random path and then turn that path off so I don't see them anymore. And then I'm going to turn off the toolpath 2. And I think all of this doesn't matter. I can just grab all of that and group all of that. All right, and now turn these back on. And now if I say A, the tree, and then B, the rings, and subtract. So subtract or weld? I want to weld. That's right. Dummy, go back. Control Z. Go use your Boolean assistant. And then my Boolean assistant popped up on the wrong screen. There it is. So that's not really what I want. That's not what I want either. So is it cut shapes? I did this earlier today, and I did chips. I did chips live, and then I left chips live and met Jack in the shop and had more chips. Let's see, tools. Nope, it's not cut shapes. I'm not seeing the result that I want. Is the union one? No, 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 no. Cancel. Oh, you know what? I think was thinking about it because I have those inner pieces selected too. So turn this off. Select all of this. Ungroup it. Let's hold Control and deselect all of these. I think that might be my problem. And group all that back together. There we go. And then turn that back on. Hold Shift and select the group of the offsets and go to the Boolean tool. There we go. Priority matters, sequence matters. You got to get it all in the right order. So now that's the outcome I was looking for. And say, okay. And that's going to cut out. And now that I see this and where that's placed at, I might go back and edit that and move that up so that it's attached right there and not have that gap right there. So Control Z. And then can I get, they're all grouped. But I'll move, and actually all of that's grouped. I'd have to go back and move each of those around, but you can play with that. But by doing that, by leaving the middle one out of that group, and you then use your Boolean tool to put that, was it the intersection? It puts that outer ring around the Christmas ball. And hey, Chris, if Chris is still here, yeah, you are. What happened to we still have our undo button. We can undo. But if you did Control Z or undo, if you went back 8 steps, but you only need to go back 6, you could click on the redo button and go back. It's not there anymore. It's gone. What happened to our redo button? See, I can go back all I want. Oh, there it is. But it doesn't work like here. I can't go back to where I had it all. I can't go back to where I had my union done. So I got to go back here, hold Shift, select that, go back to my Boolean tool and the union. There we go. And say, okay. Jack said redo never worked well for me. Yeah. But here, that puts a ring around that would encompass that ball. These are not in the best positions for overall appearance. And so you'd have to kind of play with it. But it's okay. I don't like look at that one. I like that. But you play with it. And by having that around there, it gives it a different character to the tree. And I like that look too. And when if you've got a whole bunch of areas that are cut out and voids and stuff, by putting that offset in there and that reinforces it and ties all that together. Melissa says, I had the same thing occur to me in another software yesterday. That is so strange. I've never noticed it had changed function. I think it broke, so now it only goes back to last save. Yeah, it's not working like it used to. There's a lot of things, but you know what? Like I said earlier today, for the folks who weren't in Chips and Chat, I've been working on a calculator that I have been writing the code to. I've been creating this from scratch from this scary void, and it is a pain in the butt to write code and create special functions and tools. And what's really aggravating and frustrating is you create this thing and it's awesome, it's great. Oh, you know what? I can do this and make it that much better. I'm going to do that, and you add that, and then boom, it all blows up and nothing works anymore. And you got to start from scratch. You can't even go back. You can't save it. So I've got mad respect now for the code writers at Lightburn with their good intentions of trying to make things better. And sometimes crap happens, and you just deal with it. And because if you're frustrated as the user, I can only imagine now how frustrated the programmers and the coders are now that have to go back and find the problems and fix it. They've got you yelling at them, but you know what? They don't really care how upset you are. They got to fix it regardless. And it is a pain in the butt to find those gremlins and try and squash them and kill them all. Save new versions before you make changes. Well, every step I do is a new version. But now, if you're talking about on my calculator, brother, these are all the different versions that I've bothered saving. This looks like it's maybe 10 through 23, and the first 10 I've already gotten rid of. I have 23 versions, and I've got I saved and saved, and I'd make a change and go. But sometimes a problem happens that you don't know about. You've created an issue, and you didn't know. All you were doing was, I'm going to make A, B, and C add up to 3, okay? But you didn't realize that B was also part of a calculation over here. And now by you bringing that in, and they're kind of changing the definition of what B is, you inadvertently change the outcome of this over here, because B used to be this, and now you're saying B is this. Well, now you've crashed everything that B used to be related to, and you wouldn't have thought that little change right there was going to affect anything, but it did. It crashed everything. And you didn't catch that because it was on something else on the back end somewhere that was buried. And now you're 6 version into it, and now you find that that don't work anymore, and you're going back. It still don't work. It don't work. It don't work. Where did it crash? Where? What happened? So, yeah. God bless the coders at Lightburn. That's why they stopped using what is called spaghetti code and using modular coding. Reminds me of the days of just writing G codes to run anything canned, trying to find your problem. Yeah. No, I don't like, I don't like looking for issues. All right. So if you're going to use a tree like this, that's got all these voids and stuff cut out in it, you're best off creating an additional offset around where you want your Christmas ball to be. And then use I think it was the intersection tool, to where you make that part of the actual tree now. So now you've got a ring that will encompass your Christmas ball and tie those cut areas together, reinforcing all that. So now let's talk about this, and then we're going to wrap this up because we're at 1:19. Trying to get out of here in about an hour and a half. So about 10 minutes, I'm going to wrap this up. This is very, very simple, but there's a problem that you have to watch for when you've got something this simple that can ruin the whole project if you don't be careful. I've got this, and it sits there perfect, sits straight, sits flat, doesn't have a teeter totter to it. I can go over there and bump on it. I can knock it over, but I can't rock it. And I can't rock it because I designed it that way. But the SVG is not designed that way. So go back over here. And let's get rid of all this. And I'm going to get my Charlie Brown tree. Oh, I shouldn't have said my Charlie Brown tree. This is my Charlie tree. And I'm going to make it bigger. The first thing, all these little bitty points and all that, that's super, super fragile. That's not going to be something that's going to hold up well if you cut it out. That's going to break off and be a problem, almost instantly. So I'm going to ungroup this because I got a lot of stuff going on here. I'm going to get rid of all the internal parts. In fact, actually for this tree, because I'm putting my own actual Christmas tree ball on here, I'm getting rid of this right here completely. First, I'll select all of those and delete it. Then select that line, go to the node editing, and select all the nodes that are in the Christmas ball. Letter D, not the delete button. Letter D, and letter D, and then finally up here, letter D. And then I would need to put a 1.5 millimeter hole right here. So I've got somewhere to tie a Christmas ball. And come here. Let's lock our aspect ratio this time. Say 1.5. And if that looks like that might be a little bit big for that branch right there, well, I can do a couple of things. I can go back to the 1 millimeter hole, or I can strengthen this because I've gotten rid of all the nodes from that point, from these 2 points where they intersect with the limbs. There are no nodes in between there. If I come right here and hit the letter L for line, that'll make that a straight line from node to node. This one's already a straight line because there's no handles on it. But if I wanted to curve that out a little bit, I can just grab that and just stretch that down. We'll fatten that one up a little bit. You can do that, or you can make that hole smaller. But I think after tying 20 Christmas balls with 1 millimeter hole, I'm going to like my 1.5 millimeter. So that will go there. And look for any other random pieces that need to go bye-bye. I ain't going to, actually, you know what? I'm going to get rid of these, delete that, and this one. And actually, you know what? I can just get rid of all that. Delete that. Come in here to this guy and go to node editing. And I'm going to select all those and letter D to delete it. I'm going to come right here. I'm looking at this gap as it comes around here. It comes to right about there. And I'm going to put a node right there. I to insert a node there. And I to insert a node here. And then come right there in the middle of that and just, Control Z. I'm going to hit the letter C. Hovering over that node, hit the letter C for corner and C for corner. Now that will keep those other sides of those handles from moving. And I can just drag just this down and bring that down to where it kind of sits there like that. And come over here and do the same thing. I'm going to look, I'll put a node right here. I and C at the same time. I see, said the blind man. And get rid of any nodes. Delete that one. And I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to put one here right here. Insert. I'm going to drag it up to about there. And hit the letter C. Get rid of that one with the letter D. And then just come in here and grab that and bend that out. And I don't like how that's fitting, so I'll move my handles. And maybe even put another node in here too. I for insert, bring that in here. Now shrink that handle down. All right. And I like that better than all those random pieces down there. And that looks good for now. That's good. That's good. That's good. Uh, Now, these are all still way too fragile. But now I can take this, do an offset outward, do a round offset, and that cleans up these up here. And let's do 2.5. No, two, well, 1.5. Oh, you know what? Cancel that. I need to do select everything, and I want to deselect that. There we go. And now do offset, because I wasn't getting what I wanted up here because I didn't have the whole thing selected. 2 mil. There we go. 1.5 mil. That looks good. And I'm going to delete the original and say okay. There we go. And if I put that on a cut path, all right, so that looks like that's going to be good and sturdy. I can clean up and get rid of some of these little bitty artifacts. But, and I hear this crazy offset. That was an artifact of the offset because there was some random node or something in there. If you ungroup it, go into node editing, just come over that node and hit the letter D to delete it. That goes away. Go, bye-bye. And we can go ahead and select those and delete that. But now, all of that just to get to the point of how you make this, keep it from going teeter-totter, seesaw. You got to have a flat base. There ain't nothing flat about this. So use your tool, your guidelines, your tool paths. Come up here and grab your tool path and drag that down. And I start looking at where it touches. That touches there, but then it's way off on the rest of that. Because if this was the countertop, all right, that's going to dip back and forth. And okay, that's getting closer to up here. But now if I go all the way up here, I got to move all of this. I'm going to go with the happy medium. I'm going to bring it right there. So now I can bring this up a little bit, bring this down a little bit. The goal is to get a flat bottom on this thing. So I'm going to select both of these, go into node editing, and I'm going to grab from here over to here, grabbing all those nodes. And I'm going to just come here. I'm not even going to worry about what it looks like up there. I'm going to bring this node up to where I get that right on the line, or right at that. Come on. There we go. Hold control for micro movements. There we go. So now got that. Now that looks a little bit funky. I ain't worried about that right now. Come over here to this. I can grab all of these. And now I'm going to drag them down until it's touching the line over here. Well, there we go. That'll work. And now, if I want to clean up some of this, like, okay, I don't like all that. Okay, fine. You don't like all that. Then select that one. And you know what? I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to grab all these nodes because I'm tired of looking at them and hit the letter D to get rid of them. You're like, wait a minute. What in the world? Well, that's fine. I've got that as a straight line there. Come in here now, go back to node editing, and just grab that and curve that up anywhere I want it to be. As long as I keep those on the line, there, I can make this any shape that I want it to be. And then I could actually, what I'll do is I'll do an inward offset. I'll get these looking good, get it the shape that I want this outer perimeter to look. Make sure it's right on the line. There you go. And letter C for corner. That'll allow me to keep this side of the node where it's at and start bending and playing with the handles and create the curve that I'm looking for. And then if that's what I want, say, okay, that's not pretty right there, but I'm not going to keep dragging this out tonight. I can keep playing with that to get what I want. And then I can take this. And if I wanted that to be exactly like that offset, delete that, come in here, go to offset tool, inward offset, and do it so large that there is no inner offsets up here, but well, there's something up there, but that's okay. We ain't worry about those. I get that inward offset over here, and let's do round. That rounds that off in there. And then I'm going to select the resulting objects. Do not delete the original objects and say, okay. Now that selects everything that it just created. Well, I don't want none of this garbage up here. All I want is this down here. So I'm going to ungroup it, hold control button and select that one and deselect it, and then hit the delete button to delete all that garbage that got put up there that I didn't want. And then if I wanted to clean that up just a little bit, get rid of that one, letter D. There you go. And then I've got a perfect offset of that. I've got a flat bottom all the way across there. And now I'm going to use that same cut shapes tool that Andy missed out on earlier. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to grab a rectangle. I'm going to grab that rectangle and I'm going to put it right in the corner right there. Duplicate this whole tree, including my cut tool. Move it over here. And then say my tree, select the cut shapes, tools, cut shapes, and delete. And that wasn't closed up. That's okay. Doesn't matter. I'm going to delete all of that. And then there it is, doing funky stuff again, Chris. All that's grouped. There is nothing there to group with. Need minute to outer points of contact or table counter. Oh, need a minimum of 2 outer points of contact. Yeah, and I got 3. I said, there's 1, 2, and 3. And that right there makes that stable. And that's just, I'm getting ready to interlock those, and I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5. So this will be super stable when it's done. Can you by chance refer me to where I can find a good cheat sheet for Lightburn shortcut keys? Yeah, actually, even if I need to pay for it, we'll show you that in a minute, Melissa. So don't go anywhere. And because we're 4 minutes past where I'd like to, but we'll find that for you. I'll show it to you. It's in the help. It is in the help file, and I'll show you that before we get out of here. But I don't know why this is grouped, because see, Chris, this is not grouped with anything. This is not part of a group. So a minute ago you said, well, did you cut a group? So your result is still grouped. But this is not a group. It's a single shape. And when you cut it, it's a group. But we'll come back over here. This one would be an engrave. This one, I need to connect that. So I need to ungroup it in order to see the nodes. Now I can see the nodes. And I'm going to come to this node. And I'm going to hit the letter E and shoot this thing across the screen. Bye-bye. Come to this one and hit the letter E, shoot it across the screen. There we go. There's where they intersect. And now I can use my scissors to cut that one. And I've got one shape that matches that shape. And I can delete that. And now I can use the same tricks that we did earlier, where I get the overall height, put it in the middle, put one at the bottom, or cut one at the bottom, cut one at the top. And actually, this one you'd have to cut at the bottom. You'd cut this one at the bottom because it's going to slide down on the top of this one and interlock and create that base. And like I said, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flat points that keep that perfectly stable. All right, and she found them. Yay! All right. Yeah. So unfortunately, and like I said, you know what, Chris, I ain't complaining because like I said, I got all kinds of new mad respect for coders. It doesn't list all of them, but this will help for now. Next slide, we can talk about it. Well, anytime there's a shortcut key, like I use the align tools, I'll do Alt Shift H or Alt Shift V to align them horizontally or vertically. And I'm only in the last 6 months really started using and embracing keyboard shortcuts, because it has to make sense to me. I've got to, I've not used keyboard shortcuts in my career. It's not something that's just, almost everywhere. Control P is print or print screen or whatever. Control S is save. Those are almost, standards across the industry. Well, not an Alt Shift H or an Alt Shift V or that, those aren't necessarily industry standards. But Alt Shift H, I look at the letter H, it's 2 lines, and then the horizontal line in the middle. That line in the middle, horizontal, when I do Alt Shift H, that's the direction it's going to move. It's going to move things together horizontally. Horizontal begins with the letter H. It's moving horizontally. But I've got a picture of the letter H for that horizontal bar. It helps me. Alt Shift V is moving them together vertical, but also the V is pointed down. It's going to move things, So now I've got a mental picture of the letter V pointing in the direction it's going to move things. But if you can't remember these things, if you select this one, hold Shift, and I'm going to select this one. If you go up here to your Arrange tools, and I go to my Align, well, there you go. And then there's all the keyboard shortcuts right there. They're all listed there beside the tool. And that's the case for just about all the tools. All of the keyboard shortcuts are listed next to the tools. The Cut Shapes tool, Alt Shift C. And then the one that, and I wished I could remember who it was that turned me on to it, the wireframe mode. Before I knew, and I was, right now this is in multi, and if we go look at this multi, it's in fill and line, but you see this only in line mode. And if I go to Alt Shift W and put it in wireframe filled, now you see that's in fill mode. You see that, but this is difficult to edit in. When these are in filled, it's hard to grab pieces if they're layered on top of one another. I used to go back up here to Windows, come down here and click smooth. And when I need to go back, come back down here and click filled and then go. But then somebody pointed out, hey, dummy, right here, Alt Shift W. Alt Shift W. It's right there. It was there the entire time I was clicking on it, clicking on it, and clicking on it, and clicking on it. I just never paid no attention. I never slowed down long enough to look. But those shortcuts are all over the place. You just got to slow down and take them in. I learned about shortcuts by hovering over the top of the function. Yeah, and that's another. If you, on any of the tools, if you hover there long enough, the description of what that tool is will come up. And if there's a keyboard shortcut, it'll be there. But for like the Align tools, there's not a tool or a place to hover over for that. Some of the keyboard shortcut keys are not Lightburn specific. Control Z, yeah, undo, yeah, and redo. Yeah, and that's what I said. Some of them are been around forever. And that's why I said, I've never used software like this before, ever. I've never used any. I have to go back to, all right, who uses Corel Draw? Anybody out there use Corel right now? Or is it, I don't even know if it's called Corel Draw. It's Corel. Who out there uses Corel? Anybody? Somebody's got to use Corel. Somebody in stream's using Corel today. I'm just curious what version of Corel is out right now. You have it. What version, Terry? What version are you using? What's it on right now? Because the last time I used any design software like this was I was using Corel, and it was Corel 7. Corel version 7. And I think somebody told me then that was that they thought that was 1987. And that sounded about right, because it wasn't too, I'm going to tell on my age, but that was about the time I got out of high school. I was using Corel 7 to do vinyl graphics. I was using Corel to create the SVG or whatever, to create the cutout for the vinyl graphics. You can also go to File, Preferences, Edit Hotkeys, and you can make them your own. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I showed that in one of the other live streams. And File, Preferences, like what is now becoming a new standard, using year as a release as version number. Yeah, and but who was that? Just talking about that burn carve print, talking about preferences, edit, see file, edit, and then edit or file preferences. There we go. And then edit hotkeys. And that comes up with all of these different hotkeys that you can go in and edit and change and set up all these different ones and create your own. If there was an industry standard that you were using that Lightburn doesn't use for whatever reason, or it does something different that you don't want it to do, you can go in here and change it. You can go ahead and make it do what you want it to do. All right. Start date 25/26. All right. So looks like Corel 25 was released last year. Yeah. Corel 7. Then they started using years like Corel 2025. Well, like I said, I was on Corel 7, and I was, like I said, I'm pretty sure it was mid 80s. All right. Well, Melissa, thank you. Thank you for participating today. Thank you for being part of the Hobo Nation. Your support is greatly appreciated. All of my patrons, I can't thank you enough. You are you are my spine. You are my support system. Without you, I just blah, blah, blah. So if there's anything I can do for any of my patrons at any time, do not hesitate to ask. As you've seen, I don't know if you've watched any of that, Melissa, because I don't think you were part of the 7-hour live stream Monday, were you, Melissa? I think you were probably working or doing something in the real world. But Monday, 7 hours, nonstop live streaming just for the patrons. Yeah, you used 7 in the early 90s. Yeah, I used it for several years. But I think I started right out of high school, I think was using it. So anyway, again, thank you all for your support. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out tonight. Hopefully you learned a few things. Hopefully you're entertained. And I will see you next week in videos, live streams somewhere, or on Patreon, where have you. Like, share, subscribe, patreon.com/hobowithwood. Go gold. Thank you, everybody. You all have a wonderful weekend and enjoy what's left of it.